G'day mate and welcome back to Factorio by the Hell with me, Jedit. We're in we're in episode 18 and a half, which is another half episode, which means another recap episode. We're going to try to really quickly cover what's happened the last couple of weeks. Very, very briefly now, we're 3 weeks in. Fair bits happen. First off, research is finished. First week, we got really a starter base up and running. We got a little bit of red and green science, and we got a few gun turrets down. That was pretty much it. Week 2 happened. We started getting a collect everything magic belt all the way around the base, collecting all the biter corpses, because in this particular playthrough, there are a lot of biter corpses that need to be cleaned up. As you can see, the biters are dropping all sorts of things, and we're putting them into a lovely sorting system, which is sorting out all the pretty stuff so we can process it. Now, as you can see, a lot of it I'm stockpiling and leaving it for a later JD problem, and that has come back to haunt me a couple of times, but for the moment, it's sort of working. So the only thing we're processing currently is the small biter corpses. Small biter corpses, we're running in, we're pulling out the brains, the bones, the meat, and the chitin. The bones we smelt and turn into charcoal, which we can then use to power furnaces or smelters or power, whatever it happens to be. The biter meat we're turning into biter steaks. Everybody likes them medium rare, correct? We had to get the brains into our assemblers to pull out the alien DNA. That was actually important for science. And we had to get the chitin, which comes in itty-bitty tiny pieces. And if we get 100 of them put together, we can make one piece of chitin, which is really important for making armor. We've only just got enough for power armor, even though I've had it unlocked for a little while now. We got military science up and running. Military science actually took so much longer because we had to actually get that alien DNA, run it through the assemblers to get some military science packs. As soon as we got military science packs, you can guess the first thing we researched, we went and got some fire up and running. Fire has made such a difference in this playthrough. There was a few problems with the biter attacks. It doesn't help that we're still running yellow ammo in our gun turrets, but at this point in the playthrough, honestly, the gun turrets are there more as a distraction and something and a target for the biters to shoot at, rather than an actual threat. We also got these pickup towers installed. These pickup towers were collecting the biter goop that we had on the floor, because prior to that we were working on the let's store it on the ground method, which is less than ideal. But now we have these pickup towers out, and they are, as the biters die, picking up all the loot on the ground. Come on, you lot. Come in and die. Come in and die for the camera, please. Don't run away. There we go. It drops a little bit of loot on the ground, and eventually this tower will do a pass and clean up some of this stuff. It is good that we're now collecting up rather than sitting on the ground, because we were starting to get a couple of lag issues. On top of that, I have slightly upped the settings. Even though this is a death world, honestly, it wasn't hard enough. It really, really wasn't hard enough. He says as he loses gun turrets left, right, and center. But it really, really wasn't hard enough. Actually, let's go back to basics. So, we also managed in week 3 to get basically all of this running. So all of this is chemical science and landmines, and most importantly, robots. We already had the construction robots wandering around the base, or the construction drones wandering around, but they are limited to just my inventory and what's in my inventory. So it helps personal construction, but doesn't help base-wide replacing gun turrets as they get blown up by small packs of biters like this. The biter packs are getting a little bit larger. We're having a bit of lag, which is caused by this mess. Yeah, like I said, we're on a death world, and I sort of cranked it up to 10, and unfortunately, these biters are going to sit here. Well, they sat there for a significant amount of time because, yeah, we've got a couple of mods installed. One that gives us the biter goo. On top of that, do I have any active biters I can see? Well, we've got these grey ones out here. These are mirror biters. These are completely immune to lasers. And red ones, if you ever see one, are immune to fire. No, I can't see any red ones currently. So we also have red ones that are immune to fire. Anyway, we got chemical science up and running. We also got robots up and running. Robots have made such a big difference in going through and repairing different parts of the base. They've been very, very helpful. Mainly with repairs and maintenance more than anything else. And of course, Logibots to clean out the trash from my inventory, because there's always trash that needs to be cleaned up. So we also started actually processing some of the alien crap that we're bringing in, mainly because we're actually running out of iron ore entirely. So I started processing some of it over here, and this was doing its absolute hardest to make us a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of iron ore, which we're running through these lovely, when it was running through these lovely smelters and using to make just a little bit more ammo. We upped that ante a significant amount in the last week because we were just out of iron entirely, and put together this processing facility. And as you can see, even with all the assemblers here doing their absolute best, it takes us 5 seconds to get convert one alien ore into one piece of iron. So it's not exactly fast and not exactly efficient. It gave us a little bit of iron to get up and running, but it was not a long-term solution. Long-term solution was going out and capturing some more iron, which I managed to do, and unfortunately it was a little bit too easy. So we resorted to console commands, and a fair number of them. Actually, if you can see them all up here, there was a number of console commands run. So, go through them really, really quickly. We changed the max expansion group from, I think it's 5 to 25. We changed it to 50 to 100. Main reason we did that is an expansion group would normally put down like one spawner, maybe two spawners, maybe three spawners if you're lucky, because there's only about 20 biters in the group to actually form an expansion party. We upped it by a significant amount, which means when they go and form a new base, they form a significant new base. You're not eating pollution. Like, this is a biter base out here, and you can see it's like six spawners. If either of these are a expansion party, they're going to put down like 10 spawners, half a dozen worms. It actually becomes a real challenge. On top of that, we changed the friendly base influence and the enemy base influence radius. So prior to that, they'd have a decent gap between biter bases before they do an expansion party. Now we've basically said, no, you can form a base right up against another base. We don't mind. We can have solid walls of spawners all the way down to us. That's perfectly fine by us. On top of that, we've actually allowed them to bring bases all the way down to the chunk beside us. So if is it shift enter? Space enter. Alt enter. No. One of these commands. That one. That's the pause menu, which also brings up the chunk border. So I can have my base in this chunk, and the biters could form a base in this chunk right here, which is... Oh, I can't zoom around in... Okay. I can't zoom around in that view. But yeah, it means they can start forming right hard up against our base. On top of that, we changed the max... Where is it? Max unit gathering groups to 20. So normally there's only allowed to have 10 attack groups waiting to come charge at your base. We upped it to 20, figuring, twice spinning attacks sounds like a great idea. I'm actually considering even upping it to 30. On top of that, we upped their gathering time. So we gave them a longer amount of time to wait for more biters to join their group. So hopefully giving us larger attacks overall, hoping to get higher to close to this 100 max size. So these guys will wait around for a potentially a significant longer time to get enough together to actually form an attack group. This one's obviously already maxed out in size, so it stopped calling in more, but this one's still spawning more, and you're just going to come straight into the wall, are you? No. Oh, we're forming a third attack party. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 attack parties, all spawning up nice and close. The last thing we actually changed was the pollution consumption modifier. So if we hover over the spawner, we can say for a medium biter it needs 5 pollution, a big biter needs 20, a mirror biter needs 20, and a ceramic biter needs 20 as well. That's that's quarter the normal amount. So normally you'd need 20 pollution for a medium biter on a default run. On a death world setting, you'd need 10, and on my settings you need 5. Yep, we've basically allowing the spawners to spawn 4 times the normal amount of biters for the pollution we're dishing out, which is Well, let's put it this way. These spawners are just covered, and like this whole base is covered. It cannot suck in pollution fast enough. This, I'm not sure if that's a bunch of biters coming to get me or a base, but same story. Everything is consuming pollution about as fast as it can, and we're still overwhelming them. We have significant attacks coming in. On top of that, we still have the Nightfall mod attack installed. So that means the attacks really only come at nighttime. So when the lights go out, things get a little bit scary. Potentially very, very scary. But on top of that, like I said, I think we're going to have to up the amount of biter attacks just to have a bit more friends come and say hello. So that's where we've been up to currently. Are you going to come in? No. We still got little attacks like this, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. So like I said, there might be some more tweaking the settings required. So on top of all that, no, there's another like little attacks. That's a little dead attack. And you can see our collection turrets are working wonders, picking up that biter goop and running it through the giant collect everything belt to bring it. So that's a little bit better. But yeah, you can see the red ones are immune to fire, so they'll actually stand hard up against the wall and just get covered in fire, and the gun turrets have to clean them out. Unfortunately, like I said, we're still using a whole bunch of yellow ammo. Obviously, we need to... Oh, this is what we're talking about. So, top corner of the base, 3 attacks all at once, which puts pressure on all the gun turrets, all the fire a little bit, and to a certain extent, along with really puts pressure on that ammo belt, which is suffering from not nearly enough yellow ammo on it, and it means these gun turrets are going to potentially start swimming across to red ammo like this one already has, because it couldn't find any green ammo. That pickup tower just picked up a whole bunch of crap from out in the world and is shoving it onto our sorting belt, which is still not sorting nearly fast enough. And another attack party. We have attack parties everywhere. So, we went and captured iron. Yeah. Night is bad. Bad is night. We went and captured iron last episode, but that's really as far as we got. This next week, we need to... First off, we need to unlock, potentially. No, we've already unlocked it. So we need to actually get production science packs up and running somewhere in this lack of free space base. On top of that, we need to get some stone, because we're down to 830k stone, which, of course, stone is very, very important for making bricks, for making walls, for making military science packs up here. But on top of that, it's pretty important to keep the base well defended. So we need to, this week, come out here and grab this stone patch, which means one hell of an expansion with biters already kicked up a couple of notches. And top that off, our current evolution's at 75%, which means, and this is going to be something I'm going to hate saying, but I think it should hopefully be fairly entertaining for you guys. Worms are going to start moving towards us. Yes, I have the... Worm Attack, that's the name of the mod. Worm Attack mod installed, so it means worms can actually burrow towards our base. They really have an affinity for landing right in the middle of your walls. You know, think of it as like a way to break down the walls before a wave of biters come in. So we do have the worms slowly moving their way into the walls, and nothing good is going to come of that. Anyway, that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it for this recap. It's definitely getting interesting. It's definitely getting harder. And thankfully, we have bots to sort of repair some of the damage as we go. But yeah, when your ammo belt looks like this and you're on a death world, yeah, priorities need to have another look-see. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. Hope you guys have enjoyed. As always, do remember, this is a daily series, so there shall be a new episode tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in that episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.